Good morning, Chaverim. Good morning, Mishnah. Amoud, yomi, Masechet, Pessachim, Dirshu. We're at the bottom of Pei Bet. We said an interesting halakha yesterday that when it comes to a korban Pesach that became tameh, or if a korban Pesach that went out of the city limits of Yerushalayim, we need to burn it. And not only we need to burn it, we need to burn it right away, because that's what's called a psul begufo. There was a psul in the korban himself. That's what we said yesterday, Mordechai, that when it's pasul or it went outside the city limits, you got to burn it.
What do you mean going outside?
A korban Pesach cannot leave Yerushalayim. It's city.
After it was.
Yeah, any korban that you're allowed to eat has to stay within the place where you're allowed to eat it. So the korban Pesach can only be eaten in Yerushalayim. So therefore, if it goes out of the city limits of Yerushalayim, it's now pasul. This is called pasul begufo. Both of these means that the korban itself is pasul. When the korban is pasul, so we burn it. However, what will be the case where the person himself is pasul? Not that the korban became pasul, the owner of the korban became pasul. So Shimon, the owner of the korban, he became pasul. Now, according to Tanakama, here you go.
Thank you.
According to Tanakama, you have the halakha that you don't burn the korban Pesach because it in itself is actually edible. You can't burn something that could be eaten. So what do? You got to wait till the next day. Once you get to the next morning, it becomes notar. Any korban that was supposed to be eaten tonight, that's korban Pesach, that leads over to the next morning, it becomes a korban that has been left over to the next day. Once it's left over the next day, so now it's pasul in itself, and now you're allowed to burn it. That was shitat of Chachamim. Yeah, but according to Rabbi Yochanan ben Bruka, he says no. Even this, since nobody can eat it, you're allowed to burn it right away.
Well, we said someone who's passed through the teeth makes them kosher, right?
On a tumat tehom, we finished that subject. We're not talking about the tumat tehom as safek anymore. Now we're talking about a real vadai tuma, no questions asked. So just to be clear, what we said yesterday is that the korban itself, when it's a psul in the korban, we burn it. When it's psul in the person, machloket. Tanakama says you wait till it has a psul in the guf. And according to Tanakama, and according to Rabbi Yochanan ben Bruka, since nobody can eat it now, it's like a psul in the korban. The korban has nobody to eat it. So what do? You go ahead and you burn the korban.
You bought it, it was ta'or.
You brought it was ta'or, and then it became tameh. Okay. Now we brought two psukim. We have no choice but to review what we said yesterday to understand today's daf, today's Amoud. We brought two psukim. How do we know that the basar, that the meat that became the korban pesach, that became tameh, we burn it? Well, that's a pasuk you can look in Torah or Aleph on Pei Bet Amud Aleph. It says abasar asher yiga b'kol tameh. This is talking about a shlamim, which is abasar asher yiga b'kol tameh. If a shlamim, which is kodshe kalim, I'll explain what that means in a second. Lo yachel ba'esh yisaref. If you touch something tameh, you burn it. Very good. Ba'basar kol ta'or yochal basar. So if you have a shlamim that touched something impure, what do? You go ahead and you burn it. We're in Pei Bet Amud Aleph today. At the bottom of the page, yeah? We are in the Torah or Pasuk Aleph. Abasar asher yiga b'kol tameh lo yachel ba'esh yisaref. If you have a korban that touched something which is impure, what do? You burn it. So here we see the source that if a kodshe kalim, which we'll speak about now, that's lighter levels of korbanot, which can be eaten in bigger places, it's eaten by more people, it has more time usually, it's a lighter level. So if that's burnt, which is the shlamim, so even a kodshe kalim will be burnt, everything will be burnt. How do we know if it left out the city limits that also becomes burnt? That you also burn that, it also makes it pasul. That we learn from Moshe Rabbeinu, seemingly, and Aaron HaKohen. On Aleph Nisan, Aaron HaKohen was supposed to bring three korbanot. He was supposed to bring a certain korban for Nadav, Nashon and Nadav. He was supposed to bring the chatat of the tzibur for the day of, and the chatat of Rosh Chodesh. It was Rosh Chodesh. What did he do? And even though he was on that day a mourner, he lost his two children on that day. So what did he do? He went ahead and he ate two of the korbanot, and the third one he burnt it. And Moshe Rabbeinu was upset that he burnt it. Why did you burn it? There's two things that could make you that you could burn the chatat. If you take the blood of the chatat, you bring it to Kodesh Kodeshim, that's a mistake. The chatat has to stay outside. You don't take its blood and you bring it in the Kodesh Kodeshim. You don't do that. If you did that, then I understand why you would burn it. Did you do that? No, I didn't do that. Did you take it outside of the Azara? out of the courtyard Yerushalayim, that's where you're supposed to eat the chatat. The Kohen's supposed to eat the chatat. Did you do that? No, I didn't do that. So if you didn't do this and you didn't do this, why you burn it? From here we see in a general case that if you took the chatat outside of the Beit HaMikdash, then you would have to burn it. So here we see the raya. And really, Aaron Cohen ended up saying to Moshe Rabbeinu, which you're going to see later in the Amoud, maybe tomorrow, is that he's saying to him, even though he has a heter, because somebody who is a onen is not supposed to eat kodshim. Even though he's an onen and Hashem gave a heter, that's only for the things which are exceptional for today. Hora'at sha'ah. But the things that are not exceptional for today, they're every month, so why would you have that halakha, that exception? So therefore, Aaron Cohen understood that the chatat of the chatat of the Rosh Chodesh, he's not supposed to eat it. That's why he didn't eat it.
Because he's onen.
Because he's onen. But Moshe Rabbeinu didn't know that. Moshe Rabbeinu thought he was supposed to eat it. So you see that even Moshe Rabbeinu, he missed the halakha, and Aaron Cohen had to clarify the halakha seemingly for Moshe Rabbeinu and accept it. Anyways, what do we see over here? That if you have a korban Pesach, if you take the blood, if you impurify it, you gotta burn it. If it was, or the chatat here, if the blood goes inside the Kodesh Kodeshim, or it went outside the city limits, therefore you will not be allowed to eat it, and you gotta burn it. So far so good, that's what we said yesterday. Now we're at the bottom of the page, Pebet, last 4 lines, last 2 words on the fourth last line. First word in the line is Dama, and they said Bishlama Nitma. See it? Last word in the line is Nitma. Yeah? You have it, God?
Yeah.
Jonathan, you got it? Okay. The Gemara says, Bishlama Nitma. We understand the halakha of Korban Pesach and Nitma and all the Korbanot. Gadi Rachmana Bikodshim Bikadashim Kalim. When it comes to a Shlamim, which is a lower level of Korban, we told us that you got to burn it if it becomes Tameh. Kod Shekan Bikodesh Kodashim. So if already the lower one has to be burnt, it becomes Tameh. For sure, the higher one, which is more stringent than Tumah, got to be burnt, it became Tameh. Ela Yotze. But now, what about the halakha going out? So we know that halakha very clearly be burning a korban pesach. But what about the one that goes out? So now you take it outside. Where do we learn that from? We learned it from a chatat of Aaron Kohen. So there, eshkachan kodshe kodashim. That was a kodshe kodashim. It was a higher level of kedusha. Kodashim kanim minanan. But how do we know if a lower level also went out? It also has to be burnt. Because don't forget, a korban pesach is a lower level of kodshim. So how do we know that if it goes out, that it has to be burnt? If I tell you on something more strict that it has to be burnt if you made a mistake on it, so that's because it's strict. But if it's something lenient, how do we know? Vetu, and we're going to ask another braita. Haditanya lan dama, another halakha. Anytime you have a korban that the blood did not get sprinkled the day of, instead, what did you do? You sprinkled it the next day. That's called it slept overnight. Lan. Yatsa damachutz, or if it went outside of the city limits, or the azara, whichever. Because you have certain korbanot that have to stay in the azara, certain korbanot that can go into the whole Yerushalayim. Right? So how do we know? Chutz l'klaim, the kaimalan, and we know the halakha over here that the kaimalan besrefa. How do we know this? Where is it taught? Where in the world is this halakha taught that you have to burn the kodesh kalim? And where do we know also that you have to burn the blood if there's a psul in the blood? Minanan answers the Gemara, Nafkanam de Rabbi Shimon. We have a braita of Rabbi Shimon. The Tanya Rabbi Shimon Omer, Bakodesh ba'esh tisaref. This is not the exact pasuk. It's skipping words in the pasuk. Let's read the pasuk together to our aleph. Kod chatat. We're speaking about a chatat right now. Kod chatat asher yuva midaman oen moed. Whenever you take, like we said before, the blood of the chatat into the kodesh kodashim, the oen manoed. Nekaper. Why did he do that? Bakodesh. This word bakodesh is extra. It doesn't need to be there. We already know we brought it into Kodesh Moed. What does it mean bakodesh? Doesn't mean anything. Lo te'achel. Ba'esh tisraf. Tisaref. Do not eat it. You gotta burn it. So what are we seeing now? That if you bring it inside, you gotta burn it. What do we see here? Bakodesh bas tisaref. So we isolate the word kodesh. The word kodesh here is superfluous. It's extra. We isolate it and we put it together. Ba'esh tisaref. You burn it in the kodesh. What is the kodesh? The azara. Let's read on the braita. Bakodesh, third line. Pei bet amud bet. Bakodesh ba'esh tisaref. Limed al chatat srifata bakodesh. From here we learn that the chatat needs to be burned. This is a kodesh kodashim. The kodesh kodashim of the chatat needs to be burned inside the azara. You got to burn it wherever it could be eaten. Okay? So far so good. We don't know yet about the kodesh kanim. Yes? En yadazo bidvad. Shab surei kodesh kodashim. Ve'emore kodeshim kalim minay. So how do we know all the other korbanot which is kodesh kodeshim? All we have now is a proof for the chatat. We don't have a proof for the other kodesh kodeshim, other high level of korbanot, also, which are eaten in the azara, in the courtyard of the Beit Mikdash. There's also something which is called emore kodesh kalim, the limbs of the kodesh kalim. The limbs of the kodesh kalim, even though it's a lower level korban, the limbs need to be burnt on the mizbeach. They can only be in the azara. So how do we know that those as well need to be burnt if they were tameh? Answers the Gemara. Minayin tameh v'kod b'kodesh. The pasuk says v'kod chatat. What is kod chatat? Kod chatat is also superfluous in the pasuk. It could just say chatat esher yuva. So we have an extra word kod. We have an extra word kodesh. We have b'esh tisaref. Kod b'kodesh b'esh tisaref. Anything that is kodesh kodashim or has to be in the azara needs to be burnt. The Gemara says eshkachan kodesh kodashim. Kodashim kalim minayin. Okay, that's only so burnt. Now we have an extra ribui for the kodesh kodashim. What about kodesh kalim? The meat that when you have your shlamim, you're allowed to eat outside. How do we know that all the other kodashim are allowed to be eaten outside? From where do you know? Including our korban pesach, which is a kodesh kalim. Kod psudei. So the Gemara says actually we have no pasuk. Therefore, ella kod psudei bakodesh v'srefa lo shna kodashim kalim lo shna kodashim gemara gmirela. So really it is a halacha Moshe Misinai. Okay, we just changed everything. We actually just say that we said at the beginning in our Mishnah, the Korban Pesach, when it becomes time, you burn it. If it goes outside of the Simni limits, you burn it. Where do we learn it from? We have a pasuk of Tuma, we have a pasuk also of Aaron, we have a pasuk over here. No, it's not good, because then we're missing Kodesh Kalim. So actually it's a halacha Moshe Misinai. We know it from a Kabbalah, a tradition. Gemara means tradition, by the way. We're learning the Gemara. Gemara is Gemara, Gemire, it's a tradition, it's a Kabbalah. So therefore we have a tradition, we have a Kabbalah, and that is the halacha. Therefore, and that is the halacha. So the Gemara says, and v'hatat d'Aaron mishum maseh shaya kachaya. So what's the whole story that we learned from the Aaron HaKohen? Why didn't you burn it? Why did it go out? That you should burn it? That is just Maseh Shaya. That's not coming to teach. That's just the interaction. That's the altercation that happened between Moshe Rabbeinu and Aaron. Did he bring it out? It should be burned. But it's not teaching that there, because if we'd be learning only from there, we wouldn't know Kodshei Kalim. Therefore, we have a Kabbalah Halacha Moshe Misinai. What did we just do now? We just said, if you have a korban that becomes tameh, if you have a korban that left its city, its limits, so you have to burn it. From where do we know? Halacha Moshe Misinai. What are we going to do now? Now we have a pasuk that says you burn it if you come tameh. What do we do with that? Also, and what do we do with Aaron Kohen? We don't need to do nothing with that. That was just a story. But we have also the pasuk that says Bakodesh Besh Tisaref on the chatat that you got to burn it inside the azara. So what do we do with those sukim? That's what the Gemara is going to ask right now. And before we go there, the Gemara is going to ask. There was a braita. There was a teaching of Rabba Baravua. I'm sorry. Tana debe Rabba Bavua, Damar afilu pigun, ta'un ibur tzura. Minanan. There is what's called pigun, right? Pigun is when you have the korban and you are thinking at the time of slaughtering it that you're going to eat it outside of the time frame, outside of the city limits. You're going to outside of this place called pigun. Thinking the wrong thoughts about when you're saying that is pigun. What are you going to do? Now, once you thought that, it's a pasul begufo. It's a pasul in the body. So you should burn it when? Should you burn it? You gotta burn it. But when do you burn it? So we learned that you actually burn it not the day of. So the guy shechted it, it's not edible anymore. Just made it pasul. You gotta wait till the next morning, so it gets another psul on it, which is called notar, and then you burn it. So how do we know that from? Minanan, yalif, avon, avon, minotar. So there's a word avon when it comes to notar. There is an avon when it comes to the kodshe, when it comes to the pigul. So the pigul, you gotta wait like the notar. The same way the notar is only burnt after it's a lot of time, so the pigul is only burnt after it's a lot of time. The Gemara asks a question, V'nilaf avon avon michatat. Why would we do that? Why wouldn't we go ahead and just learn out from chatat of Aaron? Because the chatat of Aaron was burnt when? It was burnt on that day itself. The chatat of Aaron, when it was burned that day. So the chatat, and it's also said the word avon. So now we know the chatat of Aaron. It was burned the day of. We also know pigul. It says avon. Well, notar also says avon. So avon, notar is the next day. Pigun, when should it be? Do you go to Chatat of Aaron, which is day off, or you go to the Notah, which is the next day? And says the Gemara, you should go, why not go to the Chatat of Aaron and burn it the same? The Gemara says, Amar Licha, Hatat Daron ki agavna nami ibur tzura litzura nami ibur tzura lidorot baya ve'ata morat sha'a haita. So really, Aaron Cohen, anytime you have another psul, even in a Chatat of Rosh Chodesh, you should wait till the next day as well. Elamai, why over there was burning? It was a Horat Shah. Horat Shah is a one-time thing, an exception to the rule. It was something that was not. It was something that was not a standard case, and therefore it wasn't a standard case, and therefore we don't learn from them. So that's why we learn. We learn from the pigul, and even the regular chatat as well. We burn the next day. Hashta damrinan kol psule de kodesh besreifa. לא שנג לקודשי קודשים, לא שנג לשקנים, גמר גמירה לה, בקודש באש תישרף, למה אני? So now, you with me again? So now if we go back to our original premise. Our original premise was that now we know that it's a halacha Moshe Sinai that any korban that's burnt. So what do we do with the pashuk on the chatat, a regular chatat? Remember, a regular chatat, if you take the blood and you bring it to Kodesh Kodeshim, you did a mistake, what does the pasuk say? Kol ba'kodesh ba'esh tisaref. You gotta burn it. But why do you need to do that? Why do you need that pasuk? You don't need that pasuk because Halacha Moshe Sinai. One more time. Halacha Moshe Sinai. We know that every korban that became tameh or left its limits, we burn it. How do we know? Halacha Moshe Sinai. Okay. Then we have a pasuk speaking about a chatat. That the blood of the chatat should go on the outer mizbeach. By accident, you brought in the inner mizbeach. What do? You burn it. Kod ba'kodesh ba'esh tisaref. You got to burn it. So why do we need that pasuk? We already know we got to burn out the Moshe Sinai. So what do you do with that pasuk? The Gemara answers, you burn it in the azara. Yes, you burn it, Moshe Sinai. But where do you burn it? You burn it bakodesh in the azara. The Gemara says in the next pasuk, "V'abasar asher yiga bekol tameh lo yachen." Now we have another pasuk. It's telling you that anytime you make a shlamim tameh, and you got to burn it. Why? But lo yochad be'esh yisaref. You got to burn it. Why? We already know that. We already know from the Halacha Moshe Sinai that you burn all the korban that become tameh. Answers, or anyone that are psulim. Any korban that's pasul, could be a lot of ways that it's pasul. Lina, pigul, notar, like we said, bring outside the city limits, yatzachutz, all these things. So what do we do with this pasuk on tuma? It says, you need it to tell you to actually burn something that's tameh. You might have made an error when it comes to something that's tameh, not to be confused with something that's taken out of the city limits or notar, etc. Sargadat chamina kol psule de kodesh kegonan dama nishbar dama yatsa dama. All of these nishchata b'layla. All those things, which is the blood was left overnight, you spilled the blood, you shechted it at night. The v'sreifa delit nehu bichunin. You might have thought that when Torah says you got to burn those, because those don't exist in things that are churin. You never have a scenario of a regular, any food in your house where you spilled the blood, you left it the next day, you shechted your regular meat at nighttime. There's no psul over here. So this is independent and special for kodshin. That's why you burn it. But tameh also exists in regular food. You can make your regular food tameh. So a guy can make a regular food tameh. So now, since you made tameh the korban, Ema hu'il v'tavid ba'ibud ubadin dechon. Ema lo teva isrefa. And this is very hard to understand, but as some of the Mepharshim say. So now you made it tameh, which is something you should be careful even for regular foods. So maybe you just now diminished its status. It's not kochim anymore. You were so negligent with your korban that you made it tameh, and even regular foods you should make tameh. So now you just made it that it's not even a level of kochim anymore because of your negligence, and therefore you don't need to burn it. Now you can't eat it. So what are you gonna do? These get a big kavura, just bury it, kamash manan.
So cholin that have a potential to be kodashim, if they get contaminated.
For sure it can't be kochim, that's for sure. But since you might have thought the following thing, we have a halacha Moshe Sinai, korban that's pasul for whichever one of the 5 psulim we saw over here, you burn it. So why does the Torah go out of its way to tell you if it becomes tameh, you burn it? Isn't it part of the halacha, the umbrella of psulim of halacha Moshe Sinai? And the Gemara says no, it's not. Yes, it is, but why do I need to point it out and single out? Because you might have made an error. What error might you have made? You might have thought the following. You might have said, Tameh exists also by regular. You have a chicken over here, you can't make it tameh. You have a sheep, you can't make it tameh. Meaning, you can't eat it in the state of tumah if you're Kohen or not. So you made it tameh, so you just were so negligent with it, you just did uvdin dechol on it, you just acted you just related to it and acted in a way that it's for you not even kodshim, so maybe it loses its status of kodshim, and granted that you can't eat it, but maybe you're just gonna have to put it into the ground, just put it in the ground so nobody's gonna come to eat it. You don't have to burn it like the high level kodshim, that's not bring the pasuk. Ba'esh tisaref, you gotta burn it. So far so good? The Gemara goes weiter. Amar Rav Yosef. Now what did we say at the end? You're going to work today, Mordechai?
No, I have to go back home.
Okay. Now, what did we say at the end that we're almost finished? What did we say at the end of our Mishnah? We spoke about with the psul in the body of the person. What we just still now and what we just finished and we're moving on is the animal itself. The animal is tameh, you gotta burn, yes? Yeah. What about Shimon, our famous Shimon? Shimon's bringing his korban. And he becomes tameh. What do? Tanakama says, don't burn it, because the animal be'etzim is good. So you can't burn something that's a korban that's not pasul. So what do? Cause it to have another pasul. Wait till the next morning. In the next morning, it's going to come pasul automatically because of the time frame, and then you're going to burn it. Nachon says the Gemara, and then Rabbi Yochanan ben Buka said over there, no. You're allowed to burn it even from the get-go. Rabbi Yochanan ben Buka said you're allowed to burn it from stage one. Correct?
Can't give it to someone else to eat?
No, because don't forget there's that Achav Korban Pesach. You have to be signed up.
That's for yours.
Yes, there's going to be a huge those boards where you go to the restaurants now. You have the thing where so you're going to come to the Korban Pesach, you're going to sign up online, everything is going to be Mesudar, there's going to be clouds, you're going to sign up for it, it's going to be all, you got to be signed up for it.
Okay.
What do you mean? You're going to get text when it's your time is free, you're in this land.
But it's a waste, no? They're wasting all these animals, food, animals.
Listen, Korban Pesach is a holy thing. And it has to be signed up for it. If you're not signed up, you can't eat it. And if it's signed up for only these 10 people can't eat it, so there's no more Korban Pesach. This animal is burnt. It's a Korban. Now, do you burn? It's not. Now, that's what Rabbi Yochanan ben Buka says. Burn it. Nobody can eat it. Burn it. And Tanakama says, no, don't burn it. The animal is good. You can't eat it. So, and how are you going to get rid of it? You got to burn it eventually. So make it have another psul by letting it go to the morning. But it gets in the morning. What's going to happen is that it now became tameh because it's notar. Correct? And on this, the Gemara says, the Gemara, Amar Rav Yosef. Machloket, so Rav Yosef, the famous Tan, the famous Amura, Machloket shenitmeu ba'alim. Achazrika. When is the machloket? The machloket where Rabbi Yochanan ben Buka said you burn it even as is. Achazrika. Or this is Tanakama maybe. Ditchaze basar la'achila. When it after the throwing the blood, when did Shimon become tameh? He brought it his Torah. He shechted his Torah. He got the blood his Torah. The Kohen threw the blood his Torah. He's about to go home and eat it. He touched the dead corpse. Met mitzvah. That's when the machlokes is. Aber nitmu banim lifnei zrika, lo yitchaze basar l'achila, divrei hakol yisaref miyad. When did Tanakama say don't burn it? When it was edible. When is it edible? After throwing the blood. But if it was never edible, because we didn't throw the blood, so even according to everybody, everybody says you're going to say you're going to burn it right away.
Everything before zrika is no machlokes.
That's what Rav Yosef says. The Gemara doesn't accept it. Meitivei. Impossible. On ne peut pas dire. Zaklan kol shipsulo begufo. Whenever you have a puzzle in the body, yisaref miyad braita. If it's puzzle in the body, the animal. Bidam ubibanim ta'abur tsurato. But if it's in the blood, if it's in the blood or the baal, the owner or the blood, what do? Is you push it off to the next day. Ta'abur tsurato. You let it go the next day. But you'd say to bet esrifa. Cause it to have another psul which is called notar. The Gemara says katane bali dumya dedam.
You cause it to have another psul.
By causing, we're just letting it go the next morning.
It makes you what? Be able to burn it?
Yes. Yeah. Notar, you're definitely allowed to burn. So that's exactly.
Burns it.
The Kohen, I guess. The Gemara, maybe you dumya dedam. I'm not sure. Dumya dedam. But what did we just see in this braita? There is a hekesh. We just now equated the owner, the psul in the blood, and the psul in the owner.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, psul in the blood. When is it? Madam lifnei zrika. How can you have a psul in the blood? It means you didn't throw the blood.
Yeah.
If you threw the blood, then it's kosher. Must be the psul in the blood is always before. So even
And
the
anything
brighter,
before anyways is possible.
huh?
And anything before zrika is
Well,
you're allowed to burn
that's
it, right?
that's what we're proving now that it's not true. Because what did we say? We said in our Mishnah, it's a machloket. Tanakama says you wait, and Rabbi Yochanan says you burn it now when the bal is possible. When was that bal possible? Says Rabbi Yosef, that's only after the throwing the blood, because that's when Tanakama will say to eat it that you have to wait, because it was an edible korban. But before throwing the blood, it's not an edible korban. Even he's going to say you burn it, and we don't say this is not true. You know why? Because we have a braita. When it's psud in the animal, burn it. When it's psud in the blood or the person, you have to make it wait. Now, one second. Blood is only before throwing blood. So you see that even in the person, when it's before throwing the blood, you still gotta wait. And you see the Tanakama wouldn't tell you to burn it right away. Ella itmar achitmar. So if we have to define the machloket, Rav Yosef will define it in the following fashion: machloket shenitmeu ba'anim. Achidma, machloket shenitmeu ba'anim nifnei zrika. The machlokes is only when it's before the blood. Delo yitchazeh basar la'achila. Dabar kipsulo bigufo. When will the machloket was not in Tanakama? When would Rabbi Yochanan ben Ruka say you burn it? Only when the psud was before it was thrown, because then it's a psud in the animal, because this animal is not edible. But if it was after, if the bal becomes puzzled after having thrown the blood, the itchazeh basar la'achila. Now it's actually edible food. Now it's argument is going to pursue because something else, i.e. the person, ubaye ibu tzura, and now you got to make it wait. So it's actually not a machlok in Rabbi Yochanan. When we defining Rabbi Yochanan ben Bruka, Rabbi Yochanan, let's say we have the blood over here, we want to throw it. We didn't throw it. What happens? Rabbi Yochanan ben Bruka says you don't have a kosher korban, so you're allowed to burn it right away. Tanakam will say I don't care. It's true that we didn't throw the blood, but the animal's kosher. We didn't throw the blood yet. I'm sorry. We didn't throw the blood. Now Shimon became tummy. You can't throw the blood. It's finished. It was never edible. Yeah, but we can't throw the blood because of the guy. The animal's kosher. The blood is kosher. That's not called a puzzle animal. You got to wait till the next day. And on this, Rabbi Yochanan says no. Listen, you can't. It's never edible. What do we look at? The fact that it's practically not edible, or the reason why it's not edible? According to Rabbi Yochanan ben Bruka, it's practically not edible, so you burn it. According to Rabbi Yochanan ben Bruka, it's not. According to Tanakam, it's not edible because of its exterior reason, which is shimon that become tameh. But the blood and the animal is fine, so you got to do it taboo. But everybody will agree, even Rabbi Yochanan ben Bruka, that if we threw the blood and it's now an animal korban, everybody agrees that now shimon become tameh. The reason why we burn it is because of shimon, and therefore you can't burn it on the makom. We got to wait till the next day. We'll stop here. They will came to. I was hoping.